Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1995 GMC Sonoma. Up front is a 4.3 liter V6, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this here Sonoma for a couple of reasons. First of all, I haven't done a Sonoma specifically. If you're unaware, these are Chevy S10s, but sold by GMC instead of Chevy. They share 99% of their parts, and for all intended purposes, these are S10s, but a little bit different. So I'm excited to bring that to you today. But also the second reason is the fact that I do love these little trucks. I think this is a really cool example, and I'll share why in a little bit. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpradel.com, where you can buy stickers like this retro sticker pack I have available, or big friggin' bottle sticker, both with free shipping. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 4.3 liter Vortec V6 under the hood. Well, it's not a speed demon. As rowdy and as angry as this truck sounds, it just has its muffler cut because this is a 95 and emissions no longer matter. It's not fast. However, it definitely does have that sort of oomph around town. I really do like that, and driving, cruising, hauling things in the bed is not really going to be an issue. Like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic transmission known as the 4L60E, which was put into about every GM truck and SUV of this era. We're talking Astrovan / Safari, the Tahoe, the Silverado, the Blazer, vehicles like that. So the nice thing is that 4L60Es are pretty easy to find parts for. Do they fail? Sure, and it's actually not that far out of the world. This truck is actually on at least its second transmission. But finding a new one, you go to any local pick and pull, you're gonna have a smorgasbord of options, which is really nice. Last but not least, this GMC Sonoma is rear-wheel drive. However, of course, there were 4-wheel drive versions, and we'll talk a little bit more about that with the interior. But speaking of which, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 5 gauges. On the left is my oil pressure and coolant temperature. In the center is my speedometer, and on the right is my fuel and voltage. Now, these gauge clusters don't tend to have issues too much like a lot of other GM products of the 90s. However, if you were to get the gauge cluster with the tachometer, then you start to have problems. Then the voltmeters on those tend to go out and things like that. So just something to be aware of. On the steering wheel, I don't get anything fancy. I have my horn buttons, as well as a GMC truck logo, but that's it. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, as well as my parking lights, headlights, and interior lights. And then on the door, I have my power mirrors and power window options. Moving into the center, I have 2 climate control vents, and then this dead panel. That's what I wanted to talk about with the 4-wheel drive. This is normally where your 4-wheel drive settings would be. However, of course, this doesn't have it, but the owner pointed out to me that this little block-off plate is very hard to find, and this actually is an OEM block-off plate. However, people are now 3D printing them, which is really cool to see the community stepping up and filling that void that the GM parts department has left. Down below that, we have an aftermarket radio, because every radio from the 90s was garbage. Then off to the right, I have very simple climate controls. Temperature up top, where to send it down below, fan speed off to the right. That is it. Nothing fancy, but it works. And if I've learned anything over my 820 plus reviews, it's that GM heaters are unlike anything else in this world and work harder than Chick-fil-A employees. Down below, I do get a cigarette lighter, ashtray, sorted things like that. And then on the center console, which I do get this very long center console, I get a big cubby and some coin holders, as well as 2 cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the Sonoma. And although the bottle doesn't sit all the way down, I've been driving and it hasn't fallen out. So I'm going to give the GMC Sonoma a pass on the big friggin' bottle test. How exciting is that? Then I get another large cubby. This was actually for cassette tapes. However, of course, those are no longer needed. And then a center console. The seats themselves are very comfortable. Another thing I've learned in my career is that GM really knew what they were doing when it comes to seat comfort in the late 80s and early 90s. I felt this way with the Grand National. I felt this way with the old Quad 442. I felt this way with the Chevy Beretta. I felt this way with the Chevy Cavalier. And so just across the board, GM products really understood comfort in the 1990s. However, we must now talk about the bane of my existence. If you've ever wondered, Zach, do you have any enemies? No, I tend to try to keep my relationships rather healthy, and I don't like it when someone doesn't like me. It doesn't feel good. I don't really have any enemies. I try to do right by everyone I meet. But I do have an arch nemesis, and that is Chevy S10/GMC Sonoma jump seats. And so for the first time in multiple years, I'm going to sit in some jump seats. So some Chevy S10s and Sonomas were offered with 3 doors. It would have given you a door right here to make this easier. This Sonoma does not have that. So, oh God, I don't even, oh. I'll show a better visual of the jump seats here because I have completely engulfed them, but here they are. They do pop out of the wall, which is kind of funny. They have little lap belts, but do not trust these things. Do not use them. Just don't. They have them, but just don't. All right, so we're on the back of the GMC Sonoma. First of all, we have this very nice tonneau cover, which I love. But come down here, just pop the tailgate open. Obviously, a very, very simple tailgate. This truck was hit in the rear. That's why you see this sort of bubbling up, and it's a little twisted down there. But anyway, once we are back here, of course, it is a regular truck bed. I don't get any crazy amenities, which I didn't expect out of a little work truck like this. But still, I love the versatility of having a bed on any vehicle I would own. Now we gotta talk about the looks. And first of all, the first thing that grabs you really is this color. It's rare that you see Chevy S10s in fun and interesting colors. Now, this wasn't the most fun color there was. There's this sort of fuchsia pink, which if I could ever get my hands on would be awesome. But I love the red color. I love the two-tone. This is the SLE trim level, so it's not a base. However, it does get that nice added trim, and I think it's a really nice accent. One thing about this truck, as you'll see, is that it is lowered slightly. It's been lowered 2 inches in the front, 3 inches in the back, and of course, these are not the stock wheels, but I overall love the mini truck look. I also like the size of this truck, and that's going to tie into my final thoughts, so let's get into my final thoughts. What do I think of the 1995 GMC Sonoma that I have called an S10 on accident multiple times in this video? Well, I love this truck dearly. As someone who doesn't tow a 96-foot-long boat, I don't need that much of a truck, but it's still nice to have a bed. It's still nice to have a vehicle that's very versatile and can do multiple things. And so this truck actually lasted, not in this particular form, it got a facelift, but the Sonoma and S10 lasted up until 2004. And ever since then, up until this very year, 2022, there wasn't really anything to fill the void. The reason I say up until this year is that I do think the Ford Maverick fills this truck's void quite well. It's small, but has a simple interior, is easy to drive, and just overall works well in urban environments. I think this truck does that well, and I think the new Maverick does that well. This is a very easy truck to live with. This is a truck you can drive to work, even if you don't work in construction. And I know some people might be screaming, oh, I drive my F-350 to my insurance job. That's good for you, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to deal with parking that thing every day. This isn't hard to park. This isn't hard to drive. I can see around corners. There isn't a 30-foot blind spot in the front of it. And that's what I really missed about these trucks when they went away, when they stopped producing them. And that's what excites me about the new Ford Maverick. I hope Chevy and GMC makes a Maverick competitor. I would love to see the S10 badge come back. I know that they have the Colorado, and I recently reviewed a Colorado, but look at this thing. It's huge. This isn't. This is actually made for normal people, and I love that. Huge thank you to William for letting me take out his GMC Sonoma. If you guys remember a long time ago on the channel, I actually reviewed his GMC Jimmy Diamond Edition, which was a super unique little SUV. I highly recommend checking that video out if you haven't already. But William has been absolutely awesome. I'm so thankful I was able to drive this little truck. And it's sad that I don't see these anymore, but I'm just happy to be behind the wheel of one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.